Harry Kane is the real deal, man. I can see him winning the Ballon d'Or in 10 years, stopping Neymar getting his 5th in a row. Kane and Suarez are a lot closer than you think.
Really?
I've spent the last 5 months going back in time. Great Scott! Unearthing football predictions from the deepest, darkest pits of the internet. And the results were shocking. Some of the best being Nostradamus level predictions. You enjoyed the first long form version of this, so I thought we'd just carry it on. Let's get right into it. PSG will win 10 more French leagues, but will fail to reach the semi-final of the Champions League by 2030. Obviously, we all know this is incorrect. PSG did go on to win like 10 more French titles, with the exception of like Lille winning it in 2021 or something, COVID year. They literally reached the final of the Champions League the year this guy predicted this. And with that mega team that PSG had in 2020, just before Messi arrived, it's no surprise, to be honest. Messi's retirement will affect Barcelona for maybe 1 year max, going to their usual self pretty quickly. I went over this in the past. This was a bit of a yes and no answer. When Xavi came in, they won the league, so you can't say that they were that bad. But with all the financial troubles they have, with all the poor investments they made in players like Griezmann and Coutinho and Dembele, and the list goes on, they're definitely not at their usual level, or what can you say is their usual level? They'll never reach the heights of that tiki-taka era with Pep Guardiola, or the 2015 era with the treble. But winning the league when Xavi came in, I'd say that's pretty impressive. So this is a yes and no. I guess we'll have to wait a few more years to figure out whether this is right. Arsenal triggers Messi's release clause. Because of that, Xavi, Iniesta and Fabregas find out they have Arsenal DNA. They come to Arsenal, where they take the FA Cup, winning our first trophy in 7 years. This was 11 years ago this guy said this. I mean, Fabregas already had Arsenal DNA, and he still chose to go to Chelsea. I know there's some technicalities about him not being wanted back by Wenger, but that all sounds a bit fishy to me. Arsenal fans being delusional and linking themselves to the best player in the world in the height of his powers pretty much says all you need to know about Arsenal fans.
We mustn't forget that it's been raining.
I know this guy's joking, but yeah, the fact that Fabregas decided to join Chelsea instead says it all. Zlatan wins his first Champions League with PSG. As much as Zlatan was probably the best striker in the world for a very long time whilst he was at PSG, they weren't anywhere near reaching a Champions League final. It's mad to think a lot of players in that era would be like the best in the world if they were playing now. There feels like there has been a massive dip in player performance in the past 10 years because a lot of those players like Zlatan, Suarez, Ribéry, Robben, if they were plonked 10 years later, they would easily be the best players in the world right now. But the standard was so high in the 2010s. It's just crazy to think about. Was that the greatest era in football? Neymar moves to England. He had just moved to Barcelona in 2013 when this guy said this. And I don't think it's too unfair to say that Neymar ruined his career by moving to PSG rather than somewhere a bit more optimistic. I might get slated for that, but I feel like everyone would have loved to see him in the Premier League. Would he have been able to handle a cold night in Stoke? I think he would have. Plenty of these players who didn't move and set themselves a challenge in their primes, like Hulk. I would have loved to see him in the top 5 league, and he didn't care. He was just happy with the money, and fair play, it's a job. Imagine like Hulk in the Prem or in La Liga. That's a throwback right there. Thiago will overtake Iniesta and become Spain's best midfielder over the course of 2017. Damn! I know Thiago was good, and I know injuries let him down. But to be putting him on the same page as Iniesta, I feel like that's a little bit disrespectful. Renato Sanchez will start earning his place in the Bayern team. He will explode next season. One of those wonder kids who everyone thought was going to be, you know, the next big thing. And it just hasn't worked out for him. A lot of pressure on these young kids' shoulders can really start to burden their performances. Renato Sanchez, I think, went to Swansea on loan. I don't even know where he is now. He had so much potential in that centre of the park. He looked like he had the perfect build to kind of dominate that box-to-box role. Chelsea will win the league with ease, leading to the inevitable Hazard to PSG, Real Madrid or Barcelona talk. Chelsea end up engineering a swap deal for Messi. Again, Hazard in his prime, winning the Premier League 16-17. I know it was Eden Hazard's dream to go to Real Madrid, but I actually think he would have suited Barcelona more than Real Madrid. It was unprecedented timing that he got so badly injured when he moved to Real Madrid, and a massive waste of money for Real Madrid. Let's be honest, like 120 million or something ridiculous. But I guess if he had moved to Barcelona, they were going through a tough time at the moment. They were wasting a lot of money as well. So in the end, he probably should have just stayed with Chelsea and won the Champions League with them. He obviously won the Champions League with Real Madrid in the year that they won it. But it's a shame he didn't get that fairy tale ending at Chelsea. Pogba lifts the Champions League with United. We all know this one. I've covered it before. Pogba on his day, one of the most beautiful midfielders ever. The grace and elegance of someone who's like 6'2", 6'3". Reminds me of a young me. Oh, God. That was so bad. To be fair, Mourinho does say his greatest achievement, not Inter Milan 2010, not Porto, not Chelsea winning the league with 15 goals conceded. It was finishing second to Pep's City in 2018-19, whatever it was. 18. And I don't doubt it. That team wasn't even that good. Did have a good Pogba in midfield, like I say, and these guys probably thought they were going to go on and do something with that team. One can only hope with Mourinho as manager though. Götze becomes a household name and is nominated for the Ballon d'Or. It felt like Götze was going to be one of the best players in the world after scoring that goal in the World Cup final at like 19, 20 years old. Had the world at his feet. He was out partying with Rihanna at one point. Germany, the whole of Germany loved him. Probably never has to buy a pint ever again in his life. But the football just kind of dwindled out for him. He made that move to Bayern Munich after winning the World Cup, but just couldn't get in the team. Back to Dortmund, and that was it. The guy's career has slowly just kind of dwindled out in Germany. It's a shame, really. He was linked to Arsenal at one point. Again, I think that would have been a pretty good move for him, but another one of those wonder kids with the weight of the world on his shoulder. Guess he probably won't care though, because winning that World Cup sets him up for life. His dad law is insane. And multiple people breaking Neymar's record. Football's changed. Like, package deals are offered to these players now, where like Mbappe was offered to Saudi and he had like a $1 billion package, which is just outrageous over a certain amount of time. It's more about the player than the club at the moment, which you're seeing a lot at the moment. I feel like football's changing in that respect. So in that respect, yes, people are breaking the Neymar record fee, but in the traditional way, no one's beaten that 222 million yet. One thing I will say, there was rumours that PSG were going to offer 250 million for Lamine Yamal, which looks like it might be worth it unless he gets injured. I know there's a lot of money to spend, but you have to remember transfer fees like this have been thrown around in the past. Like in 2007, Inter Milan offered 400 million for Messi, or the equivalent of in today's money, 400 million. To be fair, whoever the Inter scout was in 2007 that ID'd Messi's potential at that level, that guy deserves to be getting happy endings from the board for the rest of his career, because what is that? Manchester United were also offered like 250 mil for Rooney by Real Madrid in like 2010. Again, Rooney was like starting to dip off in the next couple of years, so that would have been way overspending, but that's just Real Madrid throwing money around all the time. But in terms of traditionally, has it yet been broken? Not yet. 5 years later, we're still yet to see that 220 mil be broken, but I don't think we're too far off. I really don't. Harry Kane is the real deal, man. I can see him winning the Ballon d'Or in 10 years, stopping Neymar getting his 5th in a row. So much to unpack here. This was 10 years ago. Harry Kane is a Ballon d'Or worthy player. A lot of people play down his ability. The technical ability of a striker, I can only kind of compare it to like Suarez. I'm not joking there. Kane and Suarez are a lot closer than you think. You don't see a lot of strikers with that technical ability. And I think in the next few years, you'll probably see Kane slowly drop back in the pitch. It's quite obvious he's that quarterback role. He just finds himself being brilliant at finishing as well. But to think that 10 years ago, they thought Neymar was going to be winning Ballon d'Or after Ballon d'Or like Messi and Ronaldo, just didn't happen. The prince that never became the king. Unfortunate, I think. If he had made that move to England, or... No, he was in the league already. If he made that move to England for Man City or Liverpool... No, Liverpool were pretty shit back in 2014. But you know what I mean. If he had made a move that had probably progressed his career, we might have been saying that this timeline that this guy's predicting here, a Spaniard will win the Ballon d'Or in 2011. This time it will not be Lionel Messi. I'd rather one of two Spaniards, Xavi or Iniesta. This was in 2010. I feel like Xavi and Iniesta definitely could have won it in those years, but with Lionel Messi being on this planet, it was only going to be him. around that time. Lionel Messi, 2010 to 2013, absolutely the best player on the planet. We took it for granted, man. We took it for granted.
He wins that ball so much.
Thank you so much for 20k subscribers, guys. I appreciate all the support you give me in these videos, and it encourages me to keep going because there's plenty of predictions out there, there's plenty of theories, and if you enjoy them, I'm going to keep making them. Peace.